Hi, this is Pat Ray from Pat's. I'm running a little behind this evening, trying to do the Thursday night substance abuse and anger management group. Each time I get started, somebody calls me on the phone. So I'm so sorry. At any rate, tonight is Thursday, and this is a substance abuse group, and it's also anger management because emotions drive behaviors, and abusing substances are part of that. So tonight, I need you to get that piece of paper, put your first and last name on it, make sure that it's printed so I can read it. And the topic of this group is anger, stress, anxiety, and substance abuse. So first of all, I want you to, on your paper, write down anything that you have been angry, stressed, or anxious about. And then I want you to ask yourself, did you have any control over that at that time? If you did you do something about it? If you didn't have any control, did you still try to do something about it? Because you see, that's when we get more frustrated. And we are more likely then to need coping skills because what it's about in treatment is learning about coping with life on life's terms without the use of substances. It's also about identifying, and managing emotions that lead us to trouble, such as trouble being using, trouble as hurting friends, loved ones, losing the job, losing the relationship, going to jail. Those are all negative consequences that come when we are trying to cope with life and we use something, our anger, alcohol, drugs, whatever it might be, gambling, relationships, whatever we use to deal with life, rather than learning how to deal with it from within. Okay. So it's not about what happens, is it? It's really about how we react to it. Um, ever have a day where things just kind of slid downhill, where one thing led to another thing, led to another thing, and you think, gosh, this is a terrible day. Okay. Terrible, awful day. But in fact, it's still better than many that we've had. Do you ever tell yourself that? This is a bad day, but it's not near as bad as the days when, and then you identify when that was, what happened. So that's part of looking at the big picture, isn't it? And looking at the big picture, then how big a deal is this going to be in 10 years? Am I even going to give this a second thought? It won't be probably in my mind at all. So is it really that big of a deal? When I look at the big picture of things, this might just be a small pebble, and I can easily get over it. The other thing I ask myself is, what proof do I have that this terrible, awful thing is going on? Most of the time, it's not the thing that's happening. It's how I look at it, how I perceive it. That is what the problem is. My perception of the situation. Now, there can be a situation, and each person may handle it differently. For example, let's say that we have 3 people, and picture a chair kind of jutting out next to a corner. It's kind of jutting out a little bit. The leg is kind of jutting out, the arm's kind of jutting out. And so the first person comes around the corner and stumbles over the chair. And he says, oh my God, this is terrible. This is awful. Why did you put that chair there? You wanted me to fall down. The second person, different, same chair, same place. Second person comes along, stumbles over the chair, says, oh my goodness, silly me, and goes and sits down. Third person comes along, stumbles over the same chair. You're saying, we better move chair. No. Third person comes along, stumbles over the chair and said, oh my goodness, let me move that chair. Different reactions, same chair, same situations. It's not the chair. It's how people perceived that situation. The first person took it personally. They perceived it as somebody did that to them on purpose. The world is out to get them. That's their perception. Second person kind of blames themselves for stuff, but not that big a deal. The other person's like, hey, let me just fix this. How we perceive it. Learning to look at reality as it is, just the facts. The fact is, chair was out there. Chair was in the way. That's the fact. Fact wasn't somebody did it on purpose or that you were a stupid person because you fell over it. None of that stuff. Chair was there. Problem-solving brain says, hey, let me fix that. Because the emotional brain is control. The belief system is, place is a pretty safe world. People really are basically pretty good. That's the belief of the third guy. The first one, he has a different belief. The second one has a different belief. We all have a different belief system, and that's what drives our perception of events. Same event, multiple people, multiple perceptions, multiple reactions, multiple consequences, and multiple choices in how they choose to cope with it. Learning to cope from within, identifying the thinking that's upsetting us, identifying the beliefs that are not helpful to us, and changing them, talking ourselves through it. That way we learn to handle things from within. We don't need anybody to fix it for us. We don't need a drink. We don't need to go out and kick up our heels and go gambling and spend the rent money. We don't need to do those things because we've learned how to handle it from within. Do we do that perfectly all the time? I absolutely do not. But the beauty of it is I know it's there. And in many cases, I do. Every day is a challenge. And every day, I have another opportunity to learn and grow, to solve the puzzle, to meet life on life's terms. Okay, guys, this is short and sweet tonight because this is the third attempt at this. So you have a good night. Turn in those progress notes. Text me, call me. You know how to get in touch. Okay, have a good one.